All right, good morning, everyone. I hope you all well. And I thought I was going to talk to you about what I would like to talk to you with you about is the dark night of the soul and how this period of desperation helped me to find God. So it was about September 2011. At that time, I was about 9 months sober. I was going to meetings, I had a sponsor, started working the steps. And even though I was sober, I felt like life wasn't getting any better. I was living at the sober house at the time. I couldn't find a job. And I got this insane idea that going to AA meetings was a waste of time and that my new job should be finding a job. So, what I started doing was putting all of my efforts toward finding a job. So, I would go to this place in Connecticut called CT Works, where we could use computers, print out resumes, and do things like that. And I started missing meetings. I used to be the person who would go to meetings every single day. One, because I didn't have a job and it helped occupy my day. And also, it made me feel better. And I really feel didn't feel the difference between going to meetings and not going to meetings. Because all I was doing was going to meetings. And so I didn't know how much of a difference that would be for me. So I started putting out resumes, um, started to apply for jobs, and like I said, missing meetings. And I think about for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I realized what was happening. I wasn't feeling good about myself. So the one good thing I started to do was, or one good decision I made during that time was to get a commitment. And so I started making coffee at the Wednesday noon How It Works meeting. And and truth be told, the only reason why I took that commitment was because it seemed like everybody who took that coffee commitment couldn't finish out the commitment because they found a job. And I thought to myself, hey, I am signing up for this. If that is the pattern that is happening for people who are taking that commitment, hey, I need all the help that I can get. So I took that commitment. And it was the only meeting that I went to each week. And that meeting saved my sobriety. And if it saved my sobriety, it also saved my life. So, so I'm missing meetings, I'm trying to find a job, I'm getting depressed, and I'm waking up late, I'm going to bed late, and at some point, I I get so depressed that I remember one night I'm in bed about 10 at night. I'm tired. I'm not getting any exercise, not seeing the light of day sometimes. Sometimes when I wake up, it'll be 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I've missed a window for getting to CT Works, and I'm just really down on myself. And part of me was unwilling to humble myself, get to meetings, and just tell people like where I was. I was 9 months sober, and I thought to myself, I should know how to do this. I went to rehab. I've been going to meetings, and I just feel like I should have known better. And to take a backslide like that was totally hitting my ego. And so I'm lying there in bed, and I'm just staring at the ceiling, and I'm thinking to myself, like something has to change. And um, and so I started talking out loud. Um, I guess you could call it a prayer, but I really didn't have God in my life or a higher power or anything like that. I didn't address it to anybody, but I said out loud, this is really hard. Getting sober is hard. I don't think I want to do this anymore. I mean, I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm not going to relapse. I'm not going to kill myself. But if you wanted to take me home tonight, I'd be okay with that. I remember closing my eyes and went to sleep. And the next morning I woke up and I was so upset. I thought that that was one of the most sincere, most genuine prayers I have ever done. And I was still here on this earth. And I remember lying there. It was about, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. The sun was in my eyes. And I thought about why I was still here. And the message was clear to me. I thought to myself, you know what? My higher power is telling me something. And it was this: Juan, even though you want to die, I'm not going to let you. So, what are you going to do about living? I just thought about it for a while. I thought to myself, I've got to make a change. Got to do something to get out of this funk. Because if I'm going to be alive, like, I have to, I can't feel this way anymore. So I decided to go to my OP, my outpatient program. This is a place that I normally went to every week. It's a therapeutic setting, group therapy. And one of the great things about this group is that it's not AA. People who want to share are allowed to share, and not everybody needs to check in, but if you want to check in, you can. And for about, I don't know, 3 months, I've just been saying, I'm fine, just passing, I'm fine. And that night I decided to get honest. I needed to get vulnerable. I've always thought of myself as an open person. I mean, I've always thought of myself as an honest person, but not always an open one. And that night, I raised my hand and I told everyone, I am fixated on the negative. I am not feeling well, missing meetings, can't find a job, living in this sober house. I just want to move on with my life. But the biggest thing was, like, I can't find a job. And if I can't find a job, then I have to live in this sober house. And I remember just sitting there, and people gave me feedback. And I remember the person leading the meeting was a therapist. And he said, Tuan, you cannot compartmentalize your life today. You need to stay sober, or you are not going to get the things that you want. You're not going to get a job. You're not going to be able to move out of your sober house. Like, you need to go to meetings. And that needs to be priority one. People spoke to me openly. Somebody said, it always feels like you have one ticket stamp to go back to Seattle. Like, why don't you take advantage of being here? Other people said, hey, send me your resume. We love you. We want to support you. And thank God you raised your hand to finally tell us what was going on. One person said, I was so worried about you, and we're here to help. And the outpouring of love and support that night was just incredible. And I remember leaving the meeting feeling good, supported, loved, feeling seen. And I remember going back to my sober house. I remember going into the kitchen and running into my friend James. And James says to me, so I found this painting gig this weekend. You want to come with me? I had not told him about anything, about the meeting, about needing to find a job. And I thought, oh, gotta be freaking kidding me. I just asked for help during this OP meeting. And 45 minutes later, I get a job. And I thought that was a blessing. That was not the blessing. I remember going to work in the morning. And if you know anything about me, I am deathly afraid of heights. So painting is not a good career choice for me. But like a good addict, a good alcoholic, I went into it with a plan. I told myself, I am going to stay on the ground for as long as I can. I'll do all the work that I need to. Hopefully the day expires, I don't need to get on the ladder. But when I get on the ladder, I'm going to paint with those alligator arms, like no sudden movements over the sides, nothing too high. They're straight ahead. Do not look down. Whatever you do, do not look down. And I remember doing all the work that I could on the ground. And then it came time to get onto the ladder. And I'm not sure why I did it, but I said a prayer. I said to myself, God is with me now. God is with me now. God is with me now. Can you please just take care of my fear of heights? You know how scared I am of heights. You take care of my fear of heights, and I will do the work. That is the deal. And then I get up the ladder, they're straight ahead, and for some reason, I am not scared. I have no idea why I'm not scared, but for some reason, I'm not scared. Checking with myself, checking with my heartbeat, and things are fine. Actually, the hardest thing for me to do was getting down. Because if you've ever been on a ladder, that first step coming down is a doozy. I did not know whether or not it was there, but I kept on telling myself, on that step was there on your way up, it's got to be there on your way down. So, like I said, I wasn't scared. I'm going up and down on that ladder, and I am just flabbergasted, not knowing what's going on, but totally appreciative of it. And so we get home, and the first thing that I see is the clock on the stove, and it said 444. And the numerology 444 means your angels are with you. And I thought, wow, that is pretty cool. Was God really with me on that ladder? I was just like, no, cool moment. Might just be a coincidence. I have no idea. Next day, I'm at work again. Do the same thing, saying the prayer, going up and down the ladders, not scared. And I'm just thinking to myself, something really weird is happening. I get home from work, and I look at the clock, of course, and we had left a little early, so it was like 3:30 or whatever. I looked at the clock, and I was like, oh, yes, God doesn't exist. Guess that was just a coincidence. So I take a shower, do some chores, get something ready for dinner. Decided to make some leftovers. So I go to the refrigerator, walk over to the microwave. Somebody had used the microwave before me, and so I had to hit the clear button. When I hit the clear button, there was a number again, 444. And I was just like 2 days in a row. That is not a coincidence. And I thought to myself, maybe God was with me on that ladder. And then I thought even more. I was thinking to myself, maybe God has always been with me throughout my life. Because if I think about my life in active addiction, there were so many moments where I should have died. And in the last year of my active addiction from crystal meth, there were 3 moments. 2 of them where I tried to take my own life, and the third one where I was just in a really bad situation. And to this day, sometimes I feel like I should be dead. And I'm not. I'm here. I'm here. And maybe God was with me all of this time, and I just was not aware of that. And so so sometimes when it was really early in my recovery, so there was times when I just didn't want to leave that moment. So whenever I went on walks, whenever I was driving the car, I just picture my higher power with me. And before I drive, and it's to this day, before I drive, now I say, I am a safe driver and all my travel angels are with me. Now that prayer doesn't make me a better driver, but it reminds me that there are certain things that I can control. I can control how fast I drive. I can control my awareness. I can control the turning and all of those things. But there are certain things that I can't control. I can't control the weather. I can't control animals running across the street. And those are things I leave up to my higher power. And it just reminds me, and even though it feels like my locus of control has narrowed, I feel like I can control even more because I'm only focused on the things that I can control. And if you ask me whether or not I believe in God today, my answer to you would be let's define God, because the God that I grew up with isn't the God that I believe in today. I grew up with a God that was punishing, that follows me around, just waiting for me to do something wrong so that I could be punished for it. But today, I believe in a God that I believe in energy. And I believe in this energy that is out there that responds to my energy. I think it was about a year into my recovery, and I was watching this documentary called The Secret. And about three-quarters of the way through, one of the people in the documentary says, if you ask a quantum physicist what created this world, he would say that energy created this world. Now, do describe energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy moves in and out of form, and energy is everywhere. If you ask a theologian the same question, what created this world? He would say that God created this world. Now, do describe God. God cannot be created or destroyed. God moves in and out of form. God is everywhere. Is it possible that God is just a metaphor for this energy? I do not believe in otherworldly being, but I do believe in this energy. But I also believe that I have to tap into this energy. And now we're always putting energy out into the universe. And it is only when I use it consciously that I can actually use it to help me manifest things and helping me feel better. I am putting out energy all the time, and it's not always conscious. So when I am praying, when I'm meditating, I'm tapping into this energy. And when I got up that ladder, I told this energy, hey, I need some help. And the energy responded to it. And, I remember reading somewhere that one of the worst things about getting sober is that you have to become religious. Now, if you change the word religious to spiritual, I think it is the best thing about getting sober. And today, my life feels like it's magic today because I can consciously tap into this energy and I can see the differences that it makes in my life. And what an absolute blessing. So that is it for me right now. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful